Hey, Happy New Year and welcome back to Midtown Comics TV. I'm Alan Kistler.
I'm Jose Ramos. Welcome to 2010.
You're looking kind of cold there, man.
It's a little frigid out. I'm a little shivery.
Well, maybe you need a dapper jacket like myself.
Oh, maybe you could dress more like the Spirit. Maybe.
My city needs me.
Why don't we get to this week's recommendations?
Why don't your mom get to this week's recommendations?
She did recommend some things.
You know what? This is why no one likes you.
Everyone likes me. Shut up.
Vote. Superman, World of New Krypton. In the last issue of World of New Krypton, or WONK, a murder has happened, and Superman has to deal with the fact that no one on Krypton knows how to do a crime scene. No one there has watched CSI, no one there has had a murder for many years, so he's having some frustration going on. Fortunately, with him is Adam Strange, the scientist, detective / superhero of the planet Ron. Some interesting confrontations. We're definitely building up to new revelations. Zod has been seeming like a good guy for the past several issues. We learn now here, maybe he hasn't gone that far from the old ways as we thought. I'm really looking forward to the last issue on this. This series is almost concluded. If you haven't been checking out, go back, catch up.
The Boys number 38, continuing the sort of secret origin trend Garth Ennis has been doing in this book. We get to see the background of the girl. Garth Ennis does what he does best, as opposed to just pointless gore. Makes you care about a character. It's really good stuff. Suicide Squad, number 67, Blackest Nighttime. You get a break-in, you get lots of connections with random characters from the background. It's a Secret Six story, it's a Suicide Squad story. It's just a good story. Check that one out of all the Blackest Night stuff this week.
Marvel Boy, the Uranus. Either way, this is the first issue of a new series. It's going back to not the Marvel Boy we've known for the past few years that Grant Morrison created, but Marvel's old Marvel Boy from decades back. The guy who didn't have pants and fought evil with the wristbands that later went to Quasar. And this is basically going back to that old story, but giving it a more modern take. Jeff Parker does a really nice job adding some characterization and poking fun at the fact that Marvel Comics actually exists within the Marvel Universe. Fun stuff, check it out.
X Factor Nation X, number 1. One shot, Peter David does what he does best. He shows what makes one character tick and the other character talk around them. Honestly, if any book you read this week, I think this should be it. Go, pick it up off the shelf right now. That's what I think. I'm done with this. Before me and Alan talk about The Siege, let's talk about why you should care about reading it.
The Avengers were Marvel's premier superhero team, who fought time-traveling tyrants, alien invaders, would-be world conquerors. The Avengers gained international status by working often in conjunction with S.H.I.E.L.D., an international anti-terrorist task force that specialized in extreme emergencies and superhuman threats. As far as many people were concerned, the heart and soul of the Avengers were the Big Three: Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, and the mighty Thor, God of Thunder. After several years of membership changes, the Avengers fell into dark times. To save his people from being forced to live the same lives over and over again, Thor seemingly destroyed himself and his home of Asgard. Almost immediately afterwards, the Avenger known as the Scarlet Witch went insane and lost control of her powers. This caused death and destruction, and the team wound up disbanding. Months later, Captain America and Iron Man formed a new team of Avengers that worked without international authority. A while after that, the Stanford Incident happened. During a battle between the heroes known as the New Warriors and a group of villains, an entire school full of children was destroyed. The Stanford Incident convinced the US government that superhumans were walking WMDs. It was decided that anyone with superhuman abilities or advanced traits who wasn't a mutant had to register with the government and become a fully deputized official, or they would be imprisoned without trial. A civil war started between the Marvel superheroes. Captain America led those who believed against registration and did not think it was up to the government to legislate anyone and draft anyone based on genetic traits. Iron Man led the heroes who were in support of registration, believing this was the best way to ensure that things like the Stanford Incident never happened again. Although the Civil War ended, the disagreement didn't. Captain America turned himself into the government to state his case, but was then seemingly assassinated by enemies. Not long after this, Thor returned to Earth's dimension, bringing Asgard with him and placing it over Oklahoma. Iron Man was placed in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he spread out his technology to become Earth's primary defense systems. Spider-Man and several other heroes continued operating as illegal vigilantes, now not only fighting criminals but also superheroes who were registered and were trying to bring them in. This illegal team of new Avengers was eventually joined by Bucky Barnes, Steve Rogers' former sidekick and partner, who took on the mantle of Captain America after his death. Weeks after Tony Stark became head of S.H.I.E.L.D., the secret invasion happened. The Skrulls, a race of shape-shifting aliens who had fought the Avengers and Fantastic Four many times, had infiltrated world governments and superhero teams, and now were making an all-out attack. The Skrulls knew how to take over Stark's technology and render it useless, leaving Earth open to a huge assault. The only technology the Skrulls could not control was Oscorp technology, created and designed by Norman Osborn. Years ago, an accident had left Norman Osborn with superhuman strength, recovery abilities, and incredible intelligence, but also gave him an insane, dominant personality that became the Green Goblin. For years, he fought Spider-Man as an archenemy and was then finally brought to justice. Now he had been working for the government, due to his incredible intelligence, with antipsychotic pills repressing his goblin persona. Since he was such a key factor in the victory over the secret invasion, Norman Osborn was hailed as a hero by the world, and was put in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. due to Tony Stark's failure to protect the planet. Osborn renamed S.H.I.E.L.D. Hammer, and then created a new team of officially sanctioned Dark Avengers who were actually supervillains under his control. Osborn tried to increase his power then by forming alliances with several criminals and villains, including the Hood and Dr. Doom. Osborn declared Tony Stark an enemy of the state, saying that he had worked in collaboration with the Skrulls. This was to allow him to not only get at Tony Stark's technology, but to interrogate him on the secret identities and weaknesses of various superheroes around the world. With Tony Stark's armor, Osborn renamed himself the Iron Patriot. Osborn now seemed victorious, but unknown to the government he was still hearing the Goblin's voice in his head, giving him orders, telling him what to do and how to increase his power even further. However, his plans had been shaken. In attempting to capture Tony Stark, Osborn revealed to the world that he was willing to kill the man even after he had surrendered. And then, Tony Stark deleted not only all of his files on superheroes, but even his own brain so that he couldn't be interrogated. Spider-Man then dealt a further blow when, as photojournalist Peter Parker, he exposed footage of Norman Osborn's illegal experiments on human test subjects. Steve Rogers, the original Captain America, then returned. He wasted no time in reuniting with Thor, and together the two of them have been helping Tony Stark recover his mind. The big three are back. And then Osborn made the further mistake of making an enemy of Dr. Doom, breaking their alliance. Growing more desperate, Osborn has been convinced by Loki, god of mischief, that the best way to ensure that his power increases so that no one can ever threaten him again is to lead a full-out assault on Asgard.
Now let's talk about the siege.
What did you think of the first issue here?
I thought it was great. It's a quick read, but there's a lot going on. It definitely reflects a lot of what happened in Secret Invasion and Civil War, reflecting sort of like this repeated pattern of like, this is happening again and again and again, something has to change. Which explains sort of why Norman Osborn, why he can publicly react this way.
It immediately comes with Siege the Embedded, which is actually taking place parallel to Siege issue 1. It's got the journalist Ben Urich, and he's figuring out what's happening before it actually happens, and it's approaching it from, how is Norman manipulating the media that people don't immediately want him ousted from office. Also, frankly, it's just fun because we're finally now getting a call to action. Thor is back. Captain America, Steve Rogers, is back.
And last page, gotta say, simple, but dynamic and fantastic.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, so definitely, if you've been out of Marvel for a bit, try coming back with the Siege. It might surprise you.
Here's the wagon. Hop on. Come along with us. We'll have some fun.
Metaphor.
Well, that wraps things up for this week. Make sure you come check us out next week. We are here every week for you. We're here. We're stable. We're here for you. Check out the Midtown Comics podcast. This week the guest is Larry Hama, guy who created G.I. Joe. See you next week. Keep reading.